Hello, 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 everyone. How is everyone doing today? Good afternoon. Hey, Patrick, good afternoon. Gary, hi, Evie. Wishing hi to all the electric vehicles out there. I see you made everyone. But it sounded like good. Hey, hi, Evie. George, time for a 3% Thursday? Is that up or down 3%, George? Ahead of PPI, wouldn't that be something? That would be interesting. Good afternoon, PTP. Thank you, Jacob. Evening, Anissa. Wonderful Wednesday, Daniel. And everybody else hiding behind the scenes. Thank you for being here. So, choppy little back and forth day today. Remember, not much else was coming out besides your crude numbers, and crude reversed strongly back down. Still headed lower. Tomorrow, continuing an initial jobless claims, 7:30, 1 hour before the open. Keep that in mind. So that's what I'll be watching for tomorrow, and then it's quiet. It's the 7:30 numbers, so we'll get those out of the way and then roll on into the open. And then don't forget PPI on Friday. PPI Friday and consumer sentiment. So Friday's going to be the big one, and then we got CPI Tuesday, and where is it? We'll just call it JPOW Wednesday. So, I mean, that interest rate decision is baked in, but we got to still prep. So the next few days are going to be interesting. Mega caps, especially Google, Apple take it again. Tesla down again. Healthcare, again, healthcare is one of the sectors we highlight in the sector overview. Healthcare still holding strong. Still something to consider. Healthcare, you see, really the only really strong positive sector today. Consumer defensive up 8 basis points, real estate 8 basis points. Communication services, which has been in sell mode forever, down 123 basis points. So, and you see on the week so far, more than halfway through the week, but there is not a single major sector positive. Fed watch 70 down to 75% for that 50 basis point, but I'd be shocked if that's not gonna be what the rate hike will be. So now I'm changing there, still in greed mode, but slipping closer to neutral. Slipping closer. So, hey, Charles, thank you for tuning in. All right. So we've held that 50-day. The 50-day has been held. The double on, now this was interesting. The double confirmed here. Almost came down to the stop level to invalidate it without it triggering. Barely missed the stop level and triggered here and then just went sideways. I'm leaving this on for overnight, but it's sitting really close to the stop level. Oops, I did those backwards. There we go. Really close. So if we close on a 1 hour overnight, see, this is where it gets yucky for the Asian session, but below 39.29 or trade below 39.24, it's off the table. So you see this move after the confirmation came within a couple ticks of ending the pattern before it triggered. It would have to get down to 39.24 even, and this got down to 39.24, so one tick away from invalidating the pattern before it triggered. But that's just the way it works. So, and also on that 4 hour, I'm going to put down, we do have a pausing bar. We do have the pausing bar right here on the 4 hour, so I'm going to use that for the harmonics. We don't have a daily pausing bar, but we at least have a 4 hour pausing bar. So that gives me some minor targets on a breakdown level. Since we at least got a 4-hour pausing bar, if we break below this key support level in here, 39.89 area, then 39.65, because it is into a single candle clear path at this point. And then it would be to the breakdown zone, 38.38. Good day, CD. Thank you for being here. Hey, George, you never answered my question. 3% Thursday, up or down? So that really the key breakdown level I'm watching is still this 39.11 area. Now I have targets to the downside, and they would be for stop reduction, at least stop reduction. But I find it's always helpful for stop reduction once you either have breakouts or breakdowns. To the upside, we can still, since this pattern technically hasn't been invalidated, the targets are still 39.70, 39.78, and then 39.86. So you're saying 3% day down. Ooh. Before PPI numbers? I guess if something really, I don't know, because even a miss in unemployment tomorrow, that would probably favor a rally. Because that would be bad, and bad equals good. I don't know. We'd have to get some shakeout, something happening. Just distinctly possible if this 39.11 area breaks. It is very possible with the 4-hour rotation zone catching up. Remember, so far it's a sideways correction. NASDAQ, remember, it confirmed. So we're switching to that daily and did not trigger. Did not trigger on the daily. Even if you're trying to do more aggressive on a 4-hour, no trigger on the 4-hour. So still waiting to see if that pattern triggers. But nothing there. Remember, we had no little intraday double. So still watching for that break lower to the upside. The key resistance is still 11.6 area. And if that did pop, the next level is now the 4-hour rotation zone 11.7. 11.693. So not much. There's not much to the upside just yet. Not much. Did the S&P support? The major support held. This is the major support level on the S&P. Did it hold? Yeah. It held. Yesterday was a technical close. We talked about the technical damage yesterday, but today the major, this is my line in the sand support. Why? This was the breakout level from CPI Thursday. This is the 50. And this is the thing that really got the last remaining people. Will it continue to rally off the fence? This one. Yesterday, yes, I talked about that. We closed down. That's why I showed that was the line chart. Today is just a slightly lower close, but it retested with pretty much a dead-on retest of that key level and then closed up. So there's, in this standpoint, the technical damage was still done yesterday. Today just confirmed this level, but there's no more, I wouldn't say any more additional technical damage. I actually, with this, it just burned off cycles to the lower for another day. So this didn't get any more, I mean, it was, yes, it was a down close, but yesterday's close was the one that closed really below. Now in the NASDAQ, this close was different. If you're talking about the NASDAQ, why was this different than yesterday's close? Because yesterday's close did not close below this key low area from the 29th, which was the lowest close since CPI Thursday. This close, even though it bounced during the day, closed lower. So this continued the technical damage in the NASDAQ, but it did not trigger the double. The Dow did not do any. Look at the rotation zone. Look at where it closed yesterday. Look at where it closed today. Reconfirming the low and no more technical damage. So it would have been a different story if the Dow, let me zoom in. See how yesterday it still closed above all these other closes, especially this one right here. This is the low close after CPI Thursday. And today also closed above it. So was there any more technical damage in the Dow? No. There was a reconfirmation of this key low, but there was no more closing basis technical damage. And technically, you get a break up. Now, real quick before I cover that, the Dow did confirm, trigger the double, has not hit the stop reduction level yet. So, unless you were magically, why am I drawing those backwards? Unless, and did not hit the walkaway 75% stop and did not close below the 62.5. So that's still technically in play. Now what I was going to say is if we have a snap rally tomorrow, it's still with the rotation zone. A close above today's high is a %B buy for a continuation rotation move. It's also a rotation zone buy because it's still with the rotation zone. So I will be watching that. Today's high is critical. Does not mean we just go buy, because if we could sell off, is if George thinks 3% down, if we had 3% down. Interesting enough is the S&P also. Now this is aggressive because we're well below the rotation zone, but that would also trigger a %B buy. The Russell just confirmed what we found yesterday, which was still moving in direction of that little thing. The Russell's a different story now. The Russell, from the double perspective, the Russell came up, and if it was trading on the shorter term basis, this came up, triggered it, and then you see this would have been below that would have been a stop, because it's back below that 75 level, so that pattern was off the table as a stop out. And then the Russell continued back lower and has a lower close from yesterday. Oh boy. Hey Mike, which levels from your post-market analysis and time frame do you watch when you day trade? If you day trade, I mean, what levels? Well, I list the major levels, and those are, remember, higher time frame levels are more important. So any level I list that's really on a 4-hour or daily is perfect for day trading. Perfect for day trading. Okay. Now, if you're trading like 5 or 15-minute time frames, which I love to do in the futures, I fine-tune levels based off of key stuff, like what I went over this morning with the little breakout, breakdown. But the higher time frame levels are the major ones I'll use. For example, I talked about the %B. We have the already triggered but not stopped out. Let's say we go in tomorrow morning and this little double's not stopped. I have a %B buy potentially above today's high on a close. So what's intraday, I'm going to be watching today's high. My early warning sign is still this 39.55 area. We start breaking above that, then continue above today's high. That can be rolled into a intraday long trade. Even if you're just an intraday trader, I'd be using that for a play because it could be setting up for a potential move higher. All right. Yeah, remember, that's where a lot of people make too many day traders, and I'm glad you find the 4-hour very useful. Too many day traders go way down in time frame to figure out all their levels. I recommend going up in time frame to finding the key levels. And then you can always find little micro levels on the lower time frames, but you want to find your major levels on the higher time frame. For example, if I was looking at the DAX, we have my key area is we have some lows. We have a key gap open here. We have the rotation zone and we have today's low. So that would be a key level for a breakdown trade, even on a intraday level. A breakout trade, you see the same level I have, this 14,350 is a key level on the higher time frame. So I'd be utilizing that for lower time frame trading. By the way, the notes finally completed the pattern. You see here, the notes finally completed the pattern. So that is done. Pattern is done. If it does continue higher, the major rollover zone is between 115.13.5 and 117.01. So if this continues to rally for this week, I will be watching for a more substantial topping pattern up here. But the double that was triggered back on CPI Thursday finally reached all the targets. That trade is over. Key pullback level now is 114.22. And if you are looking for the next targets higher, besides using the higher time frame, so I would be utilizing this 115.13, 115.14 area because it's also a breakdown area, but this is where I would also utilize from this low to this daily pausing bar. This is the cluster I'd utilize as the next minor cluster, then another key point. Dollar index outside bar closing down today, but now we have a key area is today's high and low. Today's also high being the 200. So that would be watching for that follow through move right there, or the breakdown. See, we paused between the 50, 62.5 and came up here. But with this week of close, it would not have triggered a daily trade. So I'd need an intraday move above today's high to start to trigger a trade. Nothing else there. The VIX closing technically back from bearish to neutral mode, right at the key breakdown area. We'll go over to VIX tomorrow morning. Crude, remember, tried to rally this morning, and then we got the sell-off. Closing, what was the close here? I did not check. It's still technically open for 8 more minutes, but 72.40, 72.38. It's going to be interesting, but my next stuff is down here at the 71 to $70 area. Cycles are getting to the daily of the bottom of the daily, so I'm watching for a final push lower in here, at least in the short term. Gold stalling at the 50. Again, with this move up, rotation zone held. Watching for that 108.6.5 for a closing level. What's the secret word for tonight? Oh, I don't know. What is that? Secret word. I don't know what a secret word. That's a good question. Boy, that's a left field zinger. Catching me off guard. Secret word for tonight. I'll have to think of one. How about give Mike a like? No. So that's where we sit with that. Euro, Euro. Not yet in double territory, so nothing to watch for with that. So nothing changed, but this is a stair-stepping lower momentum pattern. So I am prepared for a rollover trade, but it would need to do more damage before that happens. Pound, same thing. Stair-step, lowering momentum. So I'm watching for more of a topping move, but nothing just yet. Tesla, that we're closing easily below the 62.5. And so I'm watching for a retest of this low area. We may get another bounce down with this low area based off where cycles are before the break, but that's what I'm focused on. What else? Zappa always had a secret word at shows. Oh boy, Frank Zappa. Did Dweezil have a secret word though? You know? Yellow snow. All right, I'm letting Charles come up with a secret word. Charles just came up with it. Yellow snow. Tesla to 420 pre-split. Oh boy. Really? All right, I'm thinking we had GameStop. GameStop, let's just see post the earnings. I don't know why people are still bothering to buy this. It's a miss and a miss, but up slightly. Up slightly. Get Bob to give Charles a mob name. Charles will have to show up and say a comment that's mob name worthy when Bob's here. That's a Bob thing. I cannot do the mob names. A, I'm not Italian. So, and B, Bob came up with the mob names. You know, that's where you got Gary the golfer. You know, I'm not in tune. I can't do. We got Georgie Porgy. Who else do we have? Who else got a mob name? Tonight's secret word, porridge. Oh, now I'm going to have to come up with secret words. See what you've done, Stafford? Secret words. I like the Gary the golfer. Oh, he's going to beat people silly with the golf club. Or beat the market silly with the golf club if they don't follow his trades. Now this, we finally got the breakdown below the little horizontal channel. No close though below the low from Friday the 2nd, but this I'm starting to watch for more of a rollover play. What else? It was quiet in terms of earnings. Apple. No, I saw some people out there today talking about Apple double bottom here. No, it's not a double bottom because it's not reversing enough move, but another close below 62.5. So again, we should see a retest of these lows. We should see it. Microsoft still barely clinging onto the rotation zone in the 50. So this would be another instance. Yes, it broke lower, but on a closing basis, no more technical damage is done. Still holding those key levels. Amazon, nothing new there. We already covered Tesla. I haven't looked. I did not Google's. Google. Now, this is technically the lowest close, but not the close below the 30th's open. So that's the key level I'm watching for with Google for a breakdown position. And then we got gaps left behind for Nostradamus George Geomission. See, I'd redo George's name from Georgie Porgy to Nostradamus George. It's got to go to Nostradamus George. Thou with the gap prophecies. He's running the gap prophecies. So I would technically, if I had ownership over the names, be changing his mob name. So Nosta Georges, or is that Gorge? Maybe we'll just call it Nostra Gorgeous. No, Nostra Georgius. I can't even say that. Nostra Georgius. Oh boy. Let's just peek in at for the people who trade. By the way, did you see? I mean, Interactive Brokers is already doing it, but now it's more stuff for the US ETF overnight trading work. So if this starts picking up volume, here's the new, this is where we're getting a more official. Yeah, you've been able to trade on Interactive Brokers with the things like the spiders and the Qs, but more of the ETFs. Which, again, it's not, I'd still recommend futures. However, if you got to manage or modify positions in like the diamonds, the Qs, the spiders, silver, the long bond, the natural gas, USO, 8 p.m. Eastern Time to 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time. First session begins 8 p.m. Sunday. Ends at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time Friday. So, and here's all the weird rules. I'm going to look into that more. And if the volume actually gets substantial, we can start tracking the extended hours more so for patterns in the spiders and the Qs. But for anybody who's unaware, it's getting more and more uptake with the extended trading hours. Strategy says, just know. Will this announcement bring more volatility to futures or volume? I think it'll bring more. I don't think it'll do anything volatility-wise because, again, the futures are going to still outpace the spiders and the futures still have better hours. However, it should bring more volume and give more weight to the overnights and the additional trading hours. And see, you still have pre and post market for so we're going to have to see. I'm just pointing this out because, what am I doing? Is that adjusted or not? I don't want it adjusted for dividends. What I was looking for was the extended trading hours. I'm going to have to watch because now beyond your post-market trading hours, okay, and your pre-market trading hours, we're getting more overnight hours. So there's always been some pre-market and a little post-market. But now they open up 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So it's still, you have the non-conformity, but it opens up more so when the Asian trading really picks up. So it's going to be interesting to see if additional volume comes in, how reliable, and it will have to be done with patterns. And here's what I'm talking about. Here's why it's unreliable for patterns. Do you see? Look at this volume right now. And this is the current pre and post market. Do you see the drop off? Do you see even the highest in pre-market on an emotional candle is way lower than even, I'm not comparing it to the last, the open and the close because you're always going to have higher volume on those. But I'm looking at the lowest volume of lunchtime and look at the highest volume pre-market. I mean, you get nothing. You get nothing. Even this. Even you had a little volume coming in for one bar right after the close, but look at some of this. There's just nothing there. So I'm going to be watching this once it really, to see how the overnight stuff starts affecting, and whether we get, because there's more overnight trading, is that going to make the pre and post market pick up in volume, and are the patterns going to get more reliable? That's why I follow the patterns for the 24-hour patterns. I'll call it the 24-hour patterns on the futures, and I just follow the patterns from the day session for the spiders and the Qs. Well, it might get some more institutional traction beyond. It might pull in. It's not just spiders and Qs aren't just retail. There is some institutional involvement. Okay, I want to see if it picks up institutional involvement, because now it's more tradable for an extended period of time. That's why it's on the, hey, let's just see watch list. Hey, Lauren. By the way, for the spiders, watch yesterday's low still. Yesterday's low and today's high are the two breakdown and breakout points I'm watching. Breakdown still, the 399 is first support, and then it gets interesting. Breakout level, I would just be going back to the 397.59 area. So there's nothing new besides going on with the spiders. And the Qs did confirm, but you see here, this was confirming. I mean, unless you go, didn't even check it on the 5 minute. There's no trigger on any time frame. But the double is confirmed on the Qs, but not triggered. So do keep that in mind also. How does the trading change affect foreign markets or choice of stock listing platforms? Well, it's not really going to affect the foreign markets. The foreign markets are the foreign markets that have always been. Nothing's going to change with that. It's just that you can now do other strategies, because there's still gap exposure with it, but there's not as much gap exposure with it. I mean, I know people who trade the spiders and the Qs very heavily. They like to trade them. But overnight, they've got accustomed to hedging with futures. Okay? Like, let's say those markets were, because they were completely closed after post-market and completely closed until pre-market. What do? If there's some major stuff going on in the Asian or European sessions, and you don't want major gap exposure, how are you going to hedge? Well, historically, they would hedge with the futures by knowing their cumulative position size and offsetting it, or even more than offsetting it with an equivalent futures position size. So therefore, and then they could unwind it the next morning. They would unwind the futures position overnight in the next morning as the spiders and Qs reopened, when they could make adjustments to their position. And most of it was not done, or is I can't say was, is not done even in the pre-market spiders or the Qs because of the low volume. So if you're a bigger trader, you can actually affect it. Versus, hey, the futures, it's a lot easier to move around size. So it's going to be interesting to see if this picks up the pre and post market volume, and then the overnight volume picks up. Also, the overnight volume would cause the pre and post market to pick up also, because then people could, instead of, especially the bigger players, they could hedge in the futures. They could, I mean, they wouldn't have to hedge in the futures. They could hedge, they could just modify their positions. Now, if it's still horrible volume and it doesn't pick up, they're still going to use the futures. I'll tell you right now. But if that picks up over time, and it might take some time to get adopted, there's no need to, you could just go straight to the source. I can just modify my spider or Q position. Thank you, Charles. Smash the likes, folks. What was the code word? What was the secret word for today? Which one were we using? Guess that's my decision. That strategy is way above your account balance. It's not really, I mean, just think about it. It's above a lot of people's account balance because, you know, that's why I still think people should trade the futures. Because your stops can be in the market. As long as the futures are open, which is, what, 23 hours a day. Your stop is sitting there. Your targets are sitting there. You can put resting orders if you want. Or you can run platforms that when a key level is hit, your order, which is held on your computer, goes into the market. Assuming your computer doesn't crash or your internet's not out. There's lots of interesting things you can do. All right. What would the, by the way, now I forgot. Tomorrow morning, I just had to double check. There is literally nothing going on earnings-wise. Unless you're a big Express fan or Sienna. I don't even know what some of these companies do. I mean, unless there's people who are trading Hovanian Enterprises, I've never honestly looked at that stock, ever. That sounds painful, a corn fairy. Huh. But tomorrow after the close is pretty big. Just wanted to, I actually forgot, so I had to double check that. Do you mean the phrase? I think you're missing an R in there. The phrase that pays is technical damage, and the secret word for tonight is porridge. All right. Stafford's now in charge of the secret word and the phrase that pays. What does the phrase pay out exactly? Because how can I get on that payment bandwagon? I'd like to be on the payment phrase that pays bandwagon. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right. So now we have two new additions to the channel. The phrase that pays and the secret word of the day. I should come up with the secret word of the day for tomorrow. Somebody reminds me, ask me what the secret word of the day is tomorrow if I do not remember to say it at the beginning. But then is it a secret if I announce the secret word? How does the secret word work? All right, Stafford, how did Zappa? What was the point of the secret word? I need to find this out. Living bar to bar was a phrase that pays, and it helped me today. Well, there you go. The people at the show know the word, and how did that help them? Did you just get the secret word and that was part of, hey, now I know the secret word that shall not be repeated? But the people who watch this on demand will know the secret word too. So you didn't have to be at the live stream. All right, I'm coming up with the secret word. I'm coming up with the secret word. In the old days when you said the secret word, a duck would fall from the ceiling and you would get a prize. Why is a duck? Why is the duck falling from the ceiling? Now I'm going to need a graphic of a duck falling down the screen. I'm going to need a button. I'm going to have to, look, this is more work. I'm going to need the secret word duck falling down the screen with a sound effect when I announce the secret word. Oh boy, oh, Groucho Marx, okay. See, the channel's going to take on a whole new life. The channel, ducks falling from the sky, secret words, phrase of the day. What's this channel going to come to? All right, thanks, Lauren. Let's see. Next, I'll be wearing crazy hats. Next, we'll bring in crazy hats for different things. Oh no, it's going to get into entertainment. Does humor belong in technical analysis? Maybe technical analysis is humor. To a lot of people, they think technical analysis is a big joke. So, is that humorous? If technical analysis is a big joke? It's just a bunch of squiggly lines on the chart. You just make them say what you want them to say. That's what I've been told. So is that so? It's a big joke. As long as humor isn't emotion. There you go, Lauren. This channel, as long as humor isn't emotional, it's fine. Emotionless humor. Can you have emotionless humor? You can have emotionless trading, but can you have emotionless humor? Boy, we're going down too many rabbit holes tonight. All right, so the channel is taking a new turn. Maybe it will morph coming into the new year with new additional things. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for contributing, and the people who type into the chat. You make it a wonderful thing to do every day. I shall see everybody tomorrow morning. Remember, unemployment numbers come out at 7:30 Central, 1 hour before the open, so do not get caught off guard. I'm going to spend all night thinking of the secret word, so no sleep for me. And I will be back tomorrow. You are welcome, Charles. You are welcome, Lauren. You are welcome, CD. Thank you for the suggestions, Stafford. And I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.